Meditation Magic presents.
Good evening. My name is Ray Dwyer, and this talk tonight I call Awareness is the Goal. And there's so many goals and intentions when you learn the process of meditation. So many teachers, and they're all right. They all achieve it, or they wouldn't last a month. People would get, well, this don't work, and they quit. So I don't have any fault with any of them, but this is just what I do. And it's been proven to be very helpful, not to me, but for those who can catch what I'm trying to say. Awareness is the goal. And most of what I say is from my study of Dr. Joe Dispenza's 3 books. His first book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, is key to everything. His teaching is really rather genius, if you ask me. Breaking your habit of being yourself is about escaping from your identity of the culture that this society has given you. We grew up in this society and we really didn't choose our identity. It was taught to us as children. And each one of us has our own story of how we got to where and who we are, and the struggles we've got to change it, because those childhood programs are deep. And not only the childhood programs, most of you are adults enough to know that children come with a certain program already. And some of it is just not explainable. It's like brothers and 2 sisters, and one is this and one is that. And you go, where'd you come from? It's just, self is a manual as well as an informative textbook on how to let go of this identity. He uses the word surrender. And that was a terribly difficult word for me to use. Being the so-called tough guy I thought I was, I didn't surrender for nothing. And I was fighting to do my best, but I'd see that word surrender and I'd turn the page and study something else, He'd say it in a meditation, and I'd speed past that part. My mind reeled at that word, because at the time I thought that word meant defeat. I don't do defeat. I was told I was going to die of cancer, and I didn't even let that defeat me. It just wasn't something I did. Well, anyway, come to find out later in the story, that's not the word surrender he uses. He uses a completely different meaning. He's trying to get you to break the habit of your self-identity that the society has given you. I was told, I was programmed, I was an Army veteran with all the packaging and PTSD that came with it. And that's how I lived. And now it's killing me because I was so beat up and stressed and toxic. And I had no idea how to stop being me. How do you stop being me? I mean, just like, no matter where I go, there I was. You know that saying. Well, no matter what I did, I was still that. And Dr. Joe kept saying, change, change. How do I change being me? And I would sit and do the meditations and sit and do the meditations. And I would feel the first 6 months, I got nothing. I mean, I'd sit there and, all right, I'll be back. It's just, I read the books and I heard the promise. The promise was, if I do the work, I'll get the promise. And I knew I was starting from a dark place. So I had no expectation of sitting and having heaven open up for me. I just wanted my heart to change so my body would quit making cancer. That was the limit of my goal. So how did I get there from here? I had 2 books. Like that's all before time. Breaking the Habit of Being Myself, and You Are the Placebo. Both incredibly healing books. They have wisdom and secrets in them that I could talk for hours about. One, Breaking the Habit, I've got to change who I say I am. Two, You Are the Placebo, not you are the placebo when you do this, or you are the placebo if you follow this meditation. You are the placebo 24/7 was a shocking idea to me. It says, what are you talking about? I learned how programmed I am by my society. Everything in what we do is a program someone else gave us. We respond to certain stimulus. That's the placebo. We say no to certain things because our program says if you do this, that's a placebo. We walk, we talk, we dance, we eat because programs were giving us that if we do these things, we'll get reactions in us. That's the placebo. So how do we get free of being someone else's placebo? How do we get free of being ourselves? This is where the title of this talk comes in. Awareness is the goal. In breaking the habit of being yourself, as you start examining what you do and how really we're out of control so much of our life, Dr. Joe says as much as 95% of our day is an expression of our body mind, not our cortex mind, our body mind. And at first I used to argue with it, but the more self-aware I become, the more I realized how little I'm choosing. Let me give you an example. You get up and I want to go from that chair to that chair. You get up and walk. Think of how little you thought about in that simple act. You got a decision and told your body, okay, I want to do that. Your body, not this, did everything to go from that chair to that chair. You didn't do it. When I say you, this ego didn't do that. You turned it over to your body to get you from here to here. And I'll multiply that every moment of the day. The things that you might make decisions. Most of your decisions are body decisions. Something jumps in your face, you go, ah! That didn't decide to do that. Your body did. Again and again and again, I found my body was ruling me, and I didn't like it. So Dr. Joe talks about becoming aware and saying change. I can remember driving down the road and someone had cut me off, and I wasn't really one of these competitive drivers, but I had still got upset when traffic, stupid things. And somebody cut me off, and I felt the chemicals, and I went, change, because I remembered I'm trying to break this chemical flush, because I used to do it all the time. I was a very aggressive chemical kind of guy. Change. And I said it real loud, and I forgot my wife was sitting next to me. She says, what did you say? I said, change. She said, what's that? Oh, it's something Dr. Joe is teaching me to get control of this flush anger that I get. Oh, okay, good, do that. And so I went around saying, because I was so private, I was surprised I said it out loud. I just don't, my number 5 hadn't opened up yet. Now I can't shut up. I love talking about telling people that this stuff changes lives when you can get to the foundation of what I'm saying. So I did change. And Dr. Joe says, fall in love with your future self. I was too private to even have a future self and too painful in my past to get it together. Awareness. How can I become aware of my future self if I'm driving myself into blindness about my past? Pushing it away, painful. Shame myself so many times in my past. It was painful to think about it, deal with it. Awareness. That was a bridge I didn't want to cross. It was a bridge that led to surrender, and I knew it, and I didn't want to cross that bridge either. But I wanted to stop the chronic stress is in my body. So I started becoming aware of my past, and I started forgiving my past again and again and again. I tell people that in my group that I talk, says, love yourself first, most, always. Love yourself like a fountain until you spill over and the people around you can feel your love for yourself. You can't do that if you're angry at yourself for your past. And so the first step in loving yourself, okay, it's not the first step, but part of the process in loving yourself is to forgive yourself. And they said, what about he did that and they did that? And it says, I don't care. I don't care if you did it, they did it, or you're in the wrong place and the sky fell on you. The answer is the same. Release the energies so your heart can be free. Until your heart is free, you can't see truly. Until you can see truly, you can't be aware. Until you're aware, you can't call your heaven, your divine to you, and your future self. Everything starts with freeing your heart from your past. It's, but I'm trying to do the future self. He says, well, that's just the issue. What do you mean? What do they have in common? Your past self, your present self, your future self. What do they all have in common? The self. The self is the second word of what I call tonight. Awareness is. The self is in the present moment. That's where the divine door opens. As you learn to forgive, your future self and your past self draws to you, and your self is unified. Now, when you go into awareness, you're not pushing out who you are. You're drawing in all of what you are. I am an expression of divine light. I am an eternal energy being. I am son of the Father and heir to the throne and inheritor of the infinite potential. And my body goes, it likes the feel of that. Now, my future self is resonant with me and I'm growing in it. How do you apply this? Let's talk about the placebo. Once you get past separating yourself, once you get past breaking the habit of being yourself, and you no longer get up in the mirror and say, I'm an old man, I'm this and I'm that, and you understand, you know, we're not talking about a faith statement. I'm not talking about an affirmation. I declare to my body, I am. Separating my I am from the consciousness of my body, and I say, I am a divine energy being. And my body goes, whoo, he's home. You know, it just goosebumps me just to say. I've said it, a few times here, and every time I say it, I get this electric rush. My body likes it. And it heals me all the way to the genetic level. Do you know that when you change your energy, you give your DNA different instructions? I was taught when I was a young guy that DNA is a switch, turns on or off. It might be two things it could do. Modern science says that's totally wrong. DNAs have a whole list of different proteins that they can produce, and they produce according to their environment. The first environment is the chemistry in our body. That's how we normally live as mortal beings. But that chemistry in our body is subjected to the epigenetic energy of I am. That tells your body what chemistry to produce. That tells your body what proteins the DNA produce. Seriously. You change the DNA expression by understanding how and practicing changing your I am, the what of who you are. I find there's a contradiction to say I'm the son of the Father, and I think I'm an angry Irishman. There's a contradiction in that. And so where does that energy go? It doesn't, because there is only truth in that field. And if you give it a contradiction like that, it goes, I don't know what you want, right? But once I started defining myself of what I am as an energy being, and my body is an expression of that, now I'm telling my body to pay attention to what my new energy is. And I'm healing the most incurable thing the VA ever crossed, lymphocytic leukemia. Now, awareness is what I'm saying in that combined of two words, is that awareness, let's talk about awareness a little more. Dr. Joe likes to use the model of the quantum science for his discussion. Quantum science says a light comes in two parts, the particle and the wave. The particle is pointed, the wave is field. And he says, as a model, human attention is pointed. I could say, everybody put your attention on the keys. And you'd see your mind close down, and you'd look at the keys, you'd see it shine, and other things in the perimeter of your eyes would start fading out as you focus and give it your attention, and you'd become pointed. And pretty soon you wouldn't see what's going on in the area. They've done numerous examples of this. One of the funniest stories I've heard is that they had a college basketball team, and they were competing like the day, and they were telling them they're going to be interviewed and that this was an important thing. They're going to give the winners all. And so everybody is really, really working on it, and the team's going crazy playing basketball. There's a guy that walked a black bear around the edge of the basketball court. Not once, twice. Once in the first half and once in the second half. And the team won. Everybody's rah, rah, rah. And at the end, they were interviewing what you see and stuff like that. And then he says, did anybody see the bear? They go, what bear? How can you miss a guy walking around a black bear in a room as small as a basketball court and nobody see it? Well, I tell you, by paying attention to what you're doing, you're not aware, you're attentive. Awareness is about the field. And it doesn't do this. It does this. When you use the attention, you're using the input of your senses of your body. When you're using awareness, you are turning off this cortex, as Dr. Joe calls him, the CEO of your thinking sits down, and you move into space, and you move out of cortex mind into quantum mind. The energy being that we are has a mind. Dr. Joe calls it the quantum mind. It operates by different rules. You move into awareness, it goes to the back of your head, your little pineal turns on, and you become spatial, field-minded. Okay? This guy shuts down, this guy gets active. And when you get it right and you're peaceful, this door opens up and you move into the 8th center, like as if the angels have opened the door and invited you in. I remember the first year I was trying to get into my 8th center, just working. And I felt like there was angels with swords crossed. You can't enter. So what do you mean? I want in. I got to get in. I got to get healed. It does not work that way. If it did, I could have done it because I was a forceful individual. which is why it didn't work. It doesn't work by force, not by, what is this, not by force, fire or war or whatever, but by the grace. It's the only one. So you move into space, the center 7 opens up and 8 just opens, and you're just escorted in to the 8th center. And the expanse of, as Dr. Joe says, of no body, your first center, no place, your second center, no time, your third center, and your heart blows open. And now you're in this special dimension of heart-mind coherence, that the body is quiet and the spirit has gone out. And space and time doesn't matter in that place. But I've talked to so many people, they don't understand what I'm saying in that. So I'm going to back up a little bit to explain and expound a little bit. Awareness is the goal. This awareness is when it all happens. That's why I said that's the goal, to go back here and to go into that place where you're allowed to wander, W-A-N-D-R, and wonder and create from that infinite potential by your own heart's call, not head call, heart's call. How did I learn to do this? The first 2 years of doing doctor's work, all I had was 2 books and a lot of time and a lot of earnestness, heart's call like crazy. And I would try and try and try. I'm in one of my just earnestness, and I can't figure out how to get this to go away. And I had one of those meditations. I've only had a few where the world went away. And I was in that nobody, no place, no time. And I was not alone. The images opened up to me, and I was in a hallway of a grand old building. And before me was an electrical energy being. I called him my teacher. He didn't really speak to me, but I heard his intent, and he told me to follow him. So I followed him down a hall, and he showed me to a door, and I looked through the doorway, and it was big empty space, darkness, except for a little table and a candle. And he gave me one of those, go. So I went and I looked at the candle. I'm going, now what? So I said, I looked at the flame and I gave it my attention. I looked at it, orange and yellow coming up. I saw the smoke. I heard the flicker of the flame. I smelt the smoke. All my senses were alive. And I stepped back and like, okay. And he said, now blow it out. So in my meditation, I blew out the candle and all senses were turned off. I had no sight, no sound, no smell. And I felt the energy of my mind rush to the back of my head. It was the first time I had such a clear sensation. And I went, survival, you got, what's this? And I'm like, what? Just because I'm in this meditation in total blackness. And then I heard him say, light the candle again. So in my mind, I lit the candle, flame came up, and I felt my head rush forward to pay attention to the flame. And I went, what did I just feel? And I looked at him, and it's really cool when you see your angel smile at you. And so I looked at him, okay, now blow it out again. And I felt all my brain energy rush back and go to space again. And I went, oh, I got it. Space is not the absence of energy. It's not the absence of signals. It's just turning off your senses. You see, you can't do senses when you're giving your awareness to space. And so I started practicing this, and that's what I do automatically now. It took practice. I lean back and I start with, I am here, and I am become aware of space over my left shoulder, over my right shoulder. Let's do a little practice just to see what it feels like. Close your eyes. Close your eyes and become aware of just a little bit over your left shoulder and a little bit over the right at the same time. If you do it one at a time, you're paying attention. Just become aware of the area, the space, left and right. Feel where your head had to go to do that. Your head has to move to the back of your mind, of your brain, to do that. Now expand that space to your front, your back, your left and right, so you have a spatial awareness, just a little bubble around you. Just awareness, that's all we're after right now. Awareness is the goal. Okay, bring your attention back on, turn it forward again, and feel your mind engage forward. Do you feel how different that is in your head? You can actually feel the change in your head. When I was learning to do this, I would wonder sometimes, am I really meditating? And I think about, I would become aware of my head. And sometimes I would find, right, you're just telling yourself a story because this is working. I went, oh, stop that. And I would look and I would remember my vision and I'd become simply a simple exercise of the space here. I'd move back. And from that space, the next step, as Dr. Joe says, become aware of the space between your eye and your nose, under your chin. That one always freaked me out because I don't have much of a chin to get under, Like, do I have space there, But what did I learn in doing those strange exercises by Dr. Joe? Put your awareness here. Feel the space. Put your awareness here. Feels one of the most important major things I learned. If I am telling my awareness here and here and here, then I am not my awareness. I am something even above my consciousness. I am the chooser is above all of that. I am my chooser is non-dimensional. It's free of time and it's free of place. And that's what I learned as I was doing these simple consciousness exercises. Awareness is the goal because through becoming aware of what you do with your consciousness, you become aware of who I am. Because I am not my body. And now I've discovered I am not my energy consciousness. I am that I am is the Son of the Father, and that's without time, space. And that's exciting as all get out. My body loves it every time I say that. That is so healing to reverse. I could just say it again, just so I could get the goosebumps and the heat in my. So how do you use this? Well, that kind of jumped into the middle of the story. How you use this, I'm going to say how Dr. Joe approaches it, and then I'll develop it. This is where I was studying Hebrew. I was trying to learn some stuff about the Kabbalah. Let's see if I can find it. Dr. Joe says, as you are trying to gain access to your future self, I guess some of you have been meditating a long time. So this is more of a new person practice, okay? And I recognize some of you have got years of meditation practice over me. But this is a tool. It's like a skill set. I don't care how much music you've learned. Someone can come along and bring up a new instrument and you learn a new skill. That's all I'm saying. So please don't take this as any correction to anything else. It's just a new skill set. So he says to fall in love with your future self, because it's easy to get caught up in today's society with, and I can't get free. I'm just kind of caught up in the mess of our society. Awareness is always the goal, but how do you get there? You start with a symbol for your future self. This person had this symbol of a T. There is something in the future. I said, you don't have to tell me. It's not only secret, but it's sacred for your heart. You're planting a seed in the darkness of the dark night of the soul so that it can find its way to your light. You give it a couple squiggle lines, and this represents your body energy, your heart energy, and your mind energy. It's just to drive the suggestion that you're communicating not with flesh, but with energy fields. Now you create in you, what does it feel like and what would it look like? What's important in this little simple example is that in no case do you say, I am becoming, I am working, I am healing. None of that. This is your ideal future self. If you could be something, not do something, not have something, if you could be this kind of person, you give it the energy fields, how would you feel? How would you look? First time I started doing this, I was doing some Dr. Joe's walking meditation. He says, work as if, walk as if. And the funniest thing, I walked differently. I walked a little taller, just a little bit. Hey, look what I'm becoming. Because when I was first doing this, I was still fighting cancer all the time. I had one more medical appointment after another. They wanted to cut me, burn me, do something, drug me, do something. He says, if I could do this, how would I walk? See if I can give you another one. This person gave me an app. Same thing. How would it feel? How would it look? And both these people called me back over the next month saying their lives have changed. What did I do? Well, like I said, when I first began, my fifth center hadn't opened. So I wasn't talking to anybody about any of this stuff. It's like, who's going to believe this wacky? Who wants to go to a chiropractor for mystic teaching? Are you kidding me? But it rang my bell. There was a truth in it that my heart heard. So this is what mine looked like. And I'll tell you what this means. I had an M for my future self. I didn't really know what it looked like, what it felt like, what I would be like. But when that list of words came through me in a meditation, my heart went, that one. I went, I can do that. And I heard my heart, yeah, you can do that, Ray. Really? And so I put the M here and I put two circles around it. And then he says, what would it feel like? Well, I didn't want anybody to know what I was doing. So I would put one letter and a circle around it. And what would it look like? So I would put another letter with a circle. And I kept doing it until I had this upper part. And I went, oh, look at that. I made a sunflower. And I said, well, sunflowers need stems. And so I drew this stem and I went, oh, look at this. My heart's desire is being fed by the Mother Earth divine herself. I used to draw this. You know how you sit and do nothing sometimes? I used to draw my sunflower all day long, just scratch paper, just draw it, just and thank the Mother Divine for coming into me, for strengthening my flower. Yeah, it still touches me. That's what I did. And when I did this, I didn't know what this meant, really. somebody says, how do you know what your heart desire is? Remember that first word, awareness. They weren't aware of who or what they are yet. How could I tell them? So what I told them says, you already are a divine being. You just don't know it. With that in mind, in your meditation, put one hand on your heart and the other hand over your head and say, Father, show me my heart's desire. Show me what my heart sings. I said, invariably, you're going to get a list of things, and most of them, well, you'll go, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't know why the divine tests us. Maybe not, it's not really testing. It's helping us become aware of who we are. It's like, invariably, people say, yeah, you're right, right? I just said this. But then one time I'm sitting there and just a few days later, I'm doing it again, and all of a sudden my eyes pop open because that word that rings true for your heart lit him up. And then he knew what his future self was. That was the word that rung for me. But I didn't really understand it like I do now. But man, when I heard, and what you're looking at is someone who's still pursuing this beautiful flower. That is how I got started. Once I had my surrender of my first great meditation, where the Divine Mother just electrified me until I was free, I learned the two words in that meditation that were critical: surrender and worthiness. I couldn't do either one before that meditation. Let me tell you, surrender, for those who haven't quite solved the riddle, is not about defeat. It's about giving up your old ego to receive your true self. That's what you are surrendering. You're surrendering all this I am that we've been taught all our life. I'm a husband, I'm a veteran, I'm a worker, I'm a this, I'm an angry man, I'm drunk, I'm whatever your society has told you I am. And I tell you, you are none of those things. If you haven't heard it before, I will tell you now, you truly already are a divine being of light and energy of eternal beauty. You already are heir to the throne, and the fruits of the infinite potential already are yours. You just may not know it yet. What's the next step? The next step is worthiness. I knew what a dark person I was, how many shameful things I did in my life. I may not be that person, but how could I possibly be worthy? How could I possibly be worthy to receive what was being set before me? And the healing stopped midway. And what'd you stop for? I says, right. If you're not worthy to receive it, you don't receive it. I went, right. You got to let go of that. The religion I had taught me as a child, you're not worthy, you're not worthy, you're not worthy. I was taught that by my religion. I was taught that by my parents. I was taught that by my society. And here before me, I have divine beings saying, you're an inheritor of the kingdom, Ray. Just be worthy of it. So I had to give up my last identity and declare, I am worthy. And I couldn't get the word worthy out, but as soon as I said, I am, because they knew what my next word was. They knew what I'm going to say. I didn't get it out of my mouth. I said, I am, identifying with the kingdom that was set before me. And my healing, then my meditation, then the fire of the electricity really set off. I thought they were going to take me that day. I just like, all by myself, sitting on the floor in my little office. And I'm going, tears flowing. And so why am I saying that? because to know your future self is an early step of your self-awareness. Because if you're not willing to be aware, if you're not willing to be aware, then you can't pick from that infinite potential because you think you're this limited being. Awareness is the goal, because when you get to be aware, I am, and I am heir to the infinite potential. Now, all bets are off. Now, when you go into awareness, you can feel it. Your intentions connect. When you go into the awareness, none of the rules of the physical life apply. Everything is about frequency and tuning. Tuning becomes the art after awareness. Awareness gets you through the door. Tuning comes next. I transcribed the meditation that is Dr. Joe uses for the book, You Are the Placebo. This meditation is called Changing One Belief and Perception. I transcribed it, and in so doing, I discovered something. It's not that I discovered it. I become, well, anyway, one of the things that stand out in this meditation. The word aware and awareness is used 21 times. And what do you do once you're aware? Can you sense the energy of space? Can you sense the volume of space? Can you sense the volume? Can you sense the volume? Can you feel the volume? Can you sense? Can you be aware? Can you be aware? Can you linger? These are all part of awareness is. And if you, as a quantum observer, remember, this is the matter to matter. This guy up here, your consciousness is quantum. He's free of the limits of our energy center. And if you, as a quantum observer, find your mind returning or places to your identity, simply return and become aware that you're observing, known, and surrender. Give it over and do it again. Don't accuse, just, oh, I see you, I know I'm doing, okay. And I go back to awareness in space. So what do you do with awareness is you become a quantum observer and you feel and sense the space. Dr. Joe says, everything is full of information. All energy carries information. I always wondered, what am I supposed to do in space when you get there? And I kept getting my little pokes. So, well, you're supposed to sense and feel it and hear it and think it and see it. What? And it took me a while to stop seeking and just feeling. Stop looking and just becoming aware. Stop doing and become the observer, the witness. That's the awareness. And as you do this, you become empowered. And when you change your energy, you change your body. And you learn to love your life. You love your body into a new life. The quantum is real. This in itself was a hurdle for me to achieve because being the physical kind of guy I was is still. Just as some people are born musicians, and their whole consciousness just flows in music. Well, there's people of many different tunings, natural tunings. I was pretty physical in who I was and what I did for a living. Talking about quantum was a real challenge for me. Not that I wasn't aware of the energy world, it's just that that's not me, you know. How do I get from being this very physical man to being the guy that my sunflower said I was going to become? I had to learn to become quantum minded. How do you go from there to there? I've known people who sit at the piano as children and play. So you never, never, never can compare yourself because you don't even understand your own story. Never mind comparing it to somebody else's story. You can say we all are different, and that's fair, but don't compare because you lose either way. So first of all, back to my story of quantum mind. Some notes I took to give extra into this. The quantum mind, the I am, you attract what you are. You don't attract what you want. You don't attract what you project. You don't attract the light in your head. In the world of quantum, you attract what you are. Awareness is. It's about your state of being. If you say, I want rich, I want rich, I want rich, and your heart says you're a poor, miserable soul, see the connection. You know, I need love, I need love, I need love, and your heart says, no one loves me. You attract what you are. So that little exercise of your future self becomes very valuable to you because you get to redefine what you are. Some people get effects for doing this in just a couple of days, weeks. Others take months. Mine took months, but I got there. The quantum model of surrender, remember, surrender is not defeat. It's giving up your ego ID and taking on what's left over. And that what's left over is that what you already are. With all my heart, I say don't have to achieve it. Don't have to earn it. Don't need a holy man to bless you and throw holy water on you or anything like that. You just need to find it within you because you already are what you're seeking. I'm here to help you re-educate your mind to receive what you already are, a divine being, a beautiful, beautiful light. Everything about self-creating has to do with the observer effect. But there's a difference that needs to be talked about. If people talk about visualizing, they generally mean attention, and that's not it. I like the expression called envision. I envision this is an expression. Envision is generally not projected, but something back here. You see artists do it. They go before a canvas, not graphic artists. They know when they got patterns and plans, but an artist who sits before a canvas and hasn't decided what they want yet. And you'll talk to them and says, how do you decide? Well, the canvas tells me. They envision it. Something rises up in them and it comes up back here. And that communicates forward, not forward back. They envision it and they start communicating with their skilled training to express it. That is visualizing the way in the quantum model. That's the observer effect. That's how you create a clear intention. You don't take something here and push it up into a spotlight like a Batman light. You'll find a lot of frustrated people trying, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. No, you're not. A clear intention is something that comes up in you from the alpha theta wave part of your mindset. It's not a beta wave thing. You go into your meditation, you move into your alpha, theta, you go into your awareness mode, and you let your heart call, answer your call. Your heart will communicate and come up. That's envisioning. That will tell you who and what you are in your heart. Awareness is like being in this awareness and being in the present moment. Your heart will just, if you lit it and don't have too busy mind. 3, as you do this, and you know the I am, the most remarkable thing is that all possibilities are there. That seemed like a ridiculous statement when I first studied this work, because I had this view of my limited self. I am this, this, this. All possibilities are there. But can you tune to them? Who and what you are kind of puts a frame on what you can tune to. A musician can tune to music that I can't imagine. But me in my mechanical sense, I can see mechanical images and move them around in 3-dimensional. And I can say, okay, that needs to go here. In a very, very good way. I don't want to go into my history of why, but yes. So we each have different talents, but all possibilities exist if you are I am, and you are what is infinite. Like I told him before, tune to your intention, tune to it. Don't draw it down like a thief in the night. Tune to it. Be, awareness is, be the present moment of what you're trying to be. It's not about a new car. It's not about a big house. It's not about fancy clothes, more money. It's about your state of being. What would it feel like if you were that way? How would you look? I would stand taller. I would speak clearer. I would have more love in my heart. That's what I would be. And the last point is that as you learn to do this, this isn't, well, I was about to say it isn't magic, but I got a little poke. And a little bit it is. My teacher doesn't like me saying things that's wrong. It's like I get this, Ray, that's not right. It is a little bit of magic. It is. Okay, it's a little bit of magic. But what I was trying to think of is that it's not a mechanical switch. That's the word I was looking for. It's not mechanical. Do this and this happens. It's not like a pill. You take a pill and your body's forced to do it. It's an energy thing. And in that, there are energies that apply, and there's energies that will be incoherent. As you do this and you tune into your future self, your future intent, whether it's health like I did, or something in your life that changes, you become that end result. And that future energy field is trying to move to you. But you'll be given opportunities in your life to change your life in little ways. You'll have to express new things in your life because you have now a new energy working in you. It only makes sense. If I've got a new energy working with me, I'm going to do something different if I had the old energy working in me. Make sense? So you'll find yourself acting differently. And when you act differently, you'll find you may have new friends. You may have a new job. You may dress a little bit differently. You may talk a little bit differently. I say that because you just don't know how weird this is to me. Excuse me, I got how different this is to me. That's better. Because I was really, really a private person I used to be. So new things will come to you. And then through that new information, you will be given serendipitous information that you would wonder about and go, oh, is that how that happened? Oh, that's your teachers that are in you will start providing you with information through your meditation, through spirit guidance, or through your friends that go, hey, did you know this? And your environment, your reality will have to help you get there. The law of attraction is infinite, but it has rules. Like energy attracts like energy. Starts with small agreements. Remembering I am. Throughout your day, tell yourself, I am an eternal being. Say it again and again and again until your body loves to hear it. Not as an affirmation, as a declaration. I am. Now get in order. Because your body is used to being in charge of your life. That's just how we survive in this crazy society. In our meditation, we're going to go, I'm in my chair. Here I am. And your body will get electrical rush going, cool. Small agreements. Remembering in your agreements, your environments. If you have something in your environment that contradicts your future self, think about it and change. It's not about what you need or want. It's about matching the energy frequency. Think about tuning and frequency. Nikola Tesla said it. Einstein says it. Quantum physics says it. This is not woo-woo stuff. This is really modern science stuff that we're talking about here. We are not what we've been taught to be as the last generation. We really are, as science says, as the ancients have taught us for thousands of years, hidden in societies that aren't allowed. We are eternal beings expressing life through this body. And when you become aware, you'll understand that awareness is the goal, because from that doorway, all things are possible. Thank you.